This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne.
Also being heard on translator K266CC Cheyenne at 101.1 FM.
What you are about to hear is a sports talk radio show unlike any other that has ever before been broadcast in the capital city of Cheyenne, Wyoming, USA. This is Cheyenne, Wyoming's Sports Talk Authority. The Wyoming Cowboys, the Denver Broncos, the Colorado Rockies, and the Denver Nuggets. The show is local, it's regional, and yes, the show is national as well. Wyoming Sports Talk Today is on the air. If they're talking sports on the radio in Cheyenne, this is the place it happens. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today.
And Wyoming Sports Talk Today being brought to you by Taco John's of Cheyenne. Again, as they continue to rebuild the South Greeley location, check out the Taco John's food truck on the South Greeley Highway, usually in the Outlaw Saloon parking lot, so you can enjoy delicious Taco John's cuisine. And again, here, everywhere else where Taco John's is functioning, try that new Sierra chicken sandwich. It's here for a limited time. I should say new. It's been here before. It's back. It's delicious. And again, don't snooze. You'll lose. Taco John's of Cheyenne. Kia of Cheyenne over on Nation Way. The lot is filled up with some good-looking Kias right now. The 19s, they need to go, and they must go because the 20s are arriving, including the all-new Telluride. So AJ says, very rarely do I get this opportunity. He's got some slashed prices right now, some great deals on some 2019 Kias for you to test drive. Kia Cheyenne over on Nation Way. Plant Valley Bank times 2 on Vanda High and at the corner of College and Pershing, open Monday through Friday. Again, offering everything that today's bank needs to offer. So talk with Rick and the gang today over at Plant Valley Bank times 2. Chick-fil-A at the corner of Windmill and Delrange across from Powers Field and Menards, 2 convenient drive-thrus, serving up 3 delicious squares Monday through Saturday and for a limited time. Maybe you want to step away from your regular cuisine over at Chick-fil-A and try their Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich along with their Strawberry Passion Tea Lemonade. Again, here for just a short time. And they're both, the drink is absolutely thirst-quenching, and the sandwich absolutely delicious from Chick-fil-A, Windmill, and Delrange. Medicap Pharmacy for all your pharmaceutical needs over on Bluegrass Circle next door to Texas Roadhouse, open Monday through Saturday. Convenient drive-thru or do your business inside. Gene and the great staff will always take good care of you as they've done for many, many years. Medicap Pharmacy of Cheyenne. Lennox Auto Body over on Dunn Avenue, the Auto Glass and Detail Center over on Pershing Boulevard, part of Lennox Enterprises. Again, serving our area's needs for a quarter century. Lennox Auto Body and the Auto Glass and Detail Center. First Tier Bank at 1508 Stillwater Avenue, where you will find great CD rates. Matter of fact, their 27-month CD, how about a 3.1 annual percentage yield? So if you are looking to cash in a little bit on some good savings, well, you'll find it over at First Tier Bank. Again, customer-friendly for you Monday through Friday, 1508 Stillwater Avenue. And over across the street at 1507 Stillwater Avenue, Suite D in the Greenway Commons, they are making delicious pizza all the time, 7 days a week on fresh-made dough with fresh ingredients. The same can be said for their stromboli, along with their calzones and their delicious sandwiches, always on fresh-baked bread. Yes, Joe Mondello makes his own bread over at Mondello's Pizzeria. Family-owned, family-operated, family recipes. No corporate involved here. This is the real Paisan cuisine at its best. Mondello's Pizzeria, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, Suite D in the Greenway Commons. And we get things underway at Scoreboard Time, brought to you by Pepsi of Cheyenne. I bet I'll have the bulk of the scoreboard.
Well, you're going to have that all the way up until football season begins, but we still do have at least local action for Cheyenne Hawks as they still compete in the Wyoming American Legion Baseball A State Tournament as they are still in pool play. Today, they bring in their undefeated streak as they'll take on the Douglas Cats, who are also 2 undefeated, as well as Douglas is the host site for the A State Tournament. That game will get underway again at 7 o'clock tonight. Cheyenne Hawks versus Douglas Cats. Again, who will find their first loss heading into tournament time tomorrow. And also, do want to remind folks, Cheyenne Extreme tryouts happening tonight Thursday here, August 1st. Registration 5:30, tryout 6 to 8 o'clock, and it happens over at Converse Softball Complex. With this tryout, there is no tryout fee. Again, Cheyenne Extreme Tryouts, the at least final one for the 2019-2020 season, happening tonight at Converse Softball Complex.
Major League Baseball matinee performances. The Brewers and the Swingin' A's in the Oakland Coliseum right now. They are 2-1. Top of the fifth inning in favor of the Brew Crew. Finals that are in, it went 12 innings at Marlins Park in Miami, where Miami beats the Minnesota Twins 5-4. The Giants got absolutely pummeled today by the Philadelphia Phillies. Phils win 10-2 at Citizens Bank Ballpark. Mets blanked the White Sox at Guaranteed Rate Field. How about a 4-0 score in that contest? An abbreviated schedule for the most part for this evening. 5 o'clock games. We'll have the Blue Jays at the Orioles. Astros will visit the Indians. Rays, Red Sox at Fenway. Cubs, Cardinals again at Busch. Reds and the Bravos at SunTrust Park in Cumberland, Georgia. Padres, Dodgers wrapping things up late night tonight on the left coast at Chavez Ravine. Dodgers and Padres again getting things underway around 8:10. Our scoreboard brought to you by Pepsi of Cheyenne.
Yo, this is your cup holder talking. You know me, the little round thing between your car seats. Now, listen, we need to talk. Now, I normally have a nice cold bottle of Mountain Dew in me, but at the moment, I'm empty. That's right, no Mountain Dew. Nothing in here but a couple of quarters and a dime. A fully capable cup holder like me just carrying your loose change, it's embarrassing. Look, I'm not made for loose change. I'm round like a bottle of Mountain Dew. Glistening, cold, and delicious. I'm made to keep Mountain Dew within reach at all times, so you're never far from that incredible bold citrus kick whenever you need it. Just inches from your hand. So find the store already, grab some Dew, toss it back, then place that bottle where it belongs, and put that loose change back in your pocket. Mountain Dew. Do the Dew.
Fat, lazy, and stupid is no way to conduct a sports talk radio show. We've thrown down the gauntlet, upped the stakes, and made it clear that when it comes to sports talk radio in Cheyenne, there's a new player in town. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today, and it's only here on AM 1480 KRAE.
Welcome to the Thursday afternoon edition of Wyoming Sports Talk Today. Larry Perotti along with Nick Perotti. And again, bouncing back and forth on stuff today. We do have a football game on tap for tonight. I know
that has no implications. Again, it's
yeah,
the NFL Hall of Fame game.
If you are a Broncos fan, you are going to get fired up because it's the Broncos.
You're going to get fired up to see who's the future, at least pieces of this Broncos team. That's about it. Again, major starters, or at least your number ones on that depth chart, aren't going to see a whole lot of at least playing time against the Atlanta Falcons tonight. So
ask yourself this question, okay? You as a football fan, preseason.
As I feel like that's dwindling for me.
And
I was
asked this question this morning over on our sister station. How much of the preseason will you watch?
Zero. That's
you
easy.
will not even tune in and catch a down or anything.
Don't even care that the 49ers are going to be down in Mile High. I think at least they'll be, if not, I think it's actually on the 16th of August at least. So I ideally with
second preseason game.
Well, I'm just saying, ironically, with my at least birthday, but even for then, 49ers being in town, I have no interest. Not going to buy a ticket. Granted, I'll be in Chicago at that point in time, but I could care less about attending that game. It does not mean anything. It does not allude to that teams are going to do well. Hey, if 49ers go undefeated, it does not mean that this team's the end-all, be-all in the National Football League. If they go 0-4, it does not tell me that they're going to be terrible. It means nothing. It is NBA preseason. It's NBA Summer League. It's, again, NHL preseason. I'll even say with MLB spring training, as much as that's, to me, more fun to attend those games. I've been down there at Scottsdale. I find that a little bit more fun because there is interactivity with the players and the fans more than there is, it seems like, in the other three majors. But here for NFL preseason, I watch none, don't care, just get into regular season.
I have...
and again, this goes back to the argument I think we've had a few years. For me, I'd rather see, and players have spoken up about this, of just shortening preseason down to 2 games and adding 2 regular season games.
They had that opportunity again. It was brought up this year, and they nixed it. Here's the deal. Me, in my younger days, when Joe Montana was quarterbacking the 49ers and Bill Walsh was the head coach, you would watch the 49ers on TV, and you would catch, all their preseason games. They would tell you Joe Montana would be in for a series, or Steve Young would be in for a series.
Mm-hmm.
I would watch the series. I'm gone. Okay? When I moved out here and John Elway became a Denver Bronco, when he finally took over the reins, you would see the same thing. Under both Dan Reeves and Mike Shanahan, you'd see him in for a series, and he's gone.
Yeah.
I was gone. I'm like you. Game 1, Game 2, Game 3, I have no interest. I don't care.
Well, and at this point,
all I got to do is read to the score.
I get it for Colorado fans, or at least Denver in general, of that population base down there, where Rockies are pretty much camped out. They're done for the season. Basically that team is dead in the water at this point in time. So not really there's no interest to watch the Rockies. So basically right now, to fill that kind of sports void at this point in time, I get that Bronco fans are going to probably tune in pretty at large for this game and throughout the preseason, because it's something to watch, since right now nothing else is going on there in the Mile High City, or at least in Colorado in general. But again, for me, where baseball's kind of pulled me back into it, whether it is watching the interesting wild card races that are happening, again, with the Giants being in it, baseball is the focus for me. And baseball certainly has been the focus all the way up until October, to figure out, all right, here we go. We're getting into trying to figure out playoff spots, who's going to be wild cards, who are division winners. Races get a little hot at this point in time. That draws my eyes year in and year out. And it is something with the NFL, where we talked about this many a time, where NFL, for me personally, and you see it with other fans as well, it's not an overwhelming majority, but it's starting to spread across the nation, that NFL's kind of lost a lot of my interest at this point in time. And that's including the regular season, of just how much... Again,
the politics,
the overregulation, the too many penalties. It is something that football is, at least in NFL ranks, has almost become a joke.
Right.
And that's nothing against the players. It's just more so against front office. That's Commissioner Roger Goodell as well too. Him meddling with things. The NFL. That's why I've been a big proponent. I'm excited once we get into February and March, 2020. It's coming up. The XFL. That's where I'm probably going to be more focused, or at least football is going to get garnered probably my most focus for that spring season, and for season number 1 of the XFL. The NFL, again, I'll watch the 49ers, obviously keep track with what's happening down in Denver, as much as I still believe that season is going to be rough for the Broncos, at least upcoming here in 2019, but I'll garner its focus, but I feel like year in and year out, as much as it's getting overregulated, overcomplicated on that football field in the NFL ranks, I'm losing more and more interest, where NHL's gathering my interest. I'm curious to see what the Avs are going to do upcoming. I'm interested to see what Vegas is doing, what the Anaheim Ducks are doing. In the NBA ranks, hey, now down in Denver with the Nuggets, Nuggets are doing fantastic works. We'll see if they can repeat what they did last year. Again, as a Golden State fan, I'm intrigued to see them win and see what that new look team is going to be about. There's other things on the pro sports level that has taken my eyes away from NFL football, because it's more interested than what's on the field.
Well, and again, too, I'm to the point now. And again, I'm like you. I'll keep my eye on the Niners, and I'll also keep an eye on what's going on in Denver during the regular season. But I'm me, and you know me since all of your life. I'm baseball all the way until the World Series. I don't care. Like I said, I'll now that the Niners have kind of cleaned house a little bit and brought in new players to make this program better, then I'll
they have a clean house. So this is a work in progress, where we should see dividends. Again, people are on the side with the USA Today of their projections of saying this team has a shot to make it to the postseason, if not win the NFC West.
They piqued my interest again. But when I get home on a Sunday, I'm watching the Red Zone now. I do not sit down and watch a full game. I cannot watch a full game. It's not even entertaining to watch.
As people complain about how long baseball is, I feel like that's where we are with football, and that includes college as well. We saw how many delays that we see up in the press box in Laramie for UW football. It got to the point it was ridiculous. We're spending 20 minutes to get a replay figured out of where we spot the ball now in college football games. Football is that right now with me, where others complain about baseball being too long and how boring it is to attend a game. Football is right there on that same vein and has surpassed, in my mind, baseball. It's hard to watch.
The only thing that is exciting about...
And it's hard to watch also, too, on TV.
I know, but the only thing that's exciting about tonight's game, basically, is it's the Hall of Fame, and that won't be happening until this weekend.
No.
And, of course, the late Pat Bowlen will be enshrined in Canton, Ohio. That's about the only thing that's exciting about what's going on with the Hall of Fame game. I'm like you.
Again, we are not going to see a Flacco side and to see what he looks like.
No, you're going to see quarterbacks 2, 3, and 4 throw.
And again, I think if you are a Broncos fan, or at least if you're that devoted and have nothing better to do, you tune in to see what the future Broncos are going to look like. You know, of what Locke is going to look like, what also, too, with Kevin Hogan as a possibility. Again, he is number 2.
Brett Ripien, the number 4 quarterback. Will he catch on, or will he be on the taxi squad?
Yeah, we'll see about that. But either way, it is more so of what's your future going to look like, especially if this season does go as sour as people believe it's going to.
I think it's going to go south early.
It is something where, hey, this is your opportunity to see what future years look like posts, or if they decide if the Joe Flacco experiment doesn't work as well.
You know, it's interesting, too, and talking with a few folks about the Broncos in general, the key words or the key phrase comes up, will John Elway have a job after this year?
If they go
and these are John Elway
if they go
fans.
off the prediction of again finishing 4-12
or 5-11,
5-11, again where they're finishing below 500, missing the playoffs once again, I think it is something this offseason where people have been calling for John Elway's head, or at least a good majority of them, for whether it's reading on social media or, you know, again, just getting the pulse of the fan base down there for Denver Broncos. It seems like if they have another sour year, it might be time for John Elway
What
to go
about
by.
the president of the Broncos, Ellis? I mean, you know, you got to keep him around. I mean, and here's the other
again,
situation.
they work hand in hand, and these two have worked hand in hand to bring in Case Keenum. Now with Joe Flacco, we've had these
they brought
QB
in Mark
controversies.
Sanchez, for gosh sakes.
And now he's retired. It is something where it is a situation that both worked hand in hand. Both have caused these kind of current issues right now for the Denver Broncos franchise where, you know, as we talk about Pat Bowlen, where he wanted his team to be, he was about his team, he was about his players, he wanted a winning franchise. He got a winning franchise. Again, Broncos have been that kind of perennial powerhouse in the NFL year in and year out. Well, now we're seeing it kind of sour a bit where this team's slowly becoming a laughingstock in the National Football League.
And again, too, and I feel bad for the guy, even though he was not great for the media. I feel bad for Vance Joseph. He was brought in. It was
He was brought in a bad situation.
He was brought in to fail.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it.
I mean, for his first head coaching position, he was brought into a situation where he was going to fail, even though he was in his home state of Colorado. So, you know, I look at it this way. Pat Bowlen's daughter wants to run the team.
Yeah.
That is her hope right now, his eldest daughter.
So same situation of what you have with the Lakers.
Now you're going to have a power struggle going on. Again, the presidency, John Elway's a vice president. He's not a president of this operation, okay? But she also is a fan of John Elway. I think what's going to happen now, and again, too.
This is business, and I think with her in her position, you got to stop being a fan.
You got to stop thinking about the business.
And that's saying with the Denver Bronco fans in general, hey, yes, he was that special entity. He did special things for this franchise as a player, but now in a business role.
And earlier, in his earlier part with bringing in Peyton Manning, you know, again, when he was there, he brought John Fox in. John Fox eventually got the heave-ho, but the offense was spectacular. And again, that was because of Peyton Manning.
Fox, I put it on Peyton Manning, where, again, you go back to that time where they
Fox
signed.
Goes
again, it was between them or the 49ers. Imagine if it went the other way.
I know, but then they bring in Kubiak to take over for Fox, Peyton's last hurrah, and they win a Super Bowl. They have been nowhere, and then, you know, Peyton says, hey, I'm out of here. They have been nowhere near competitive since Super Bowl 50.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And again, this year's going to be another down year. They're going to have a good defense, no doubt about it. Vic Fangio's a defensive specialist. Offensively, I don't know. They've got a lot of good working parts, but to put everything together,
in theory, you should have
just an average quarterback. He's average.
Yeah, he's nothing special. Again, he does have the one Super Bowl, but that was almost off of a fluke of what he did with the Baltimore Ravens, again, against the 49ers years ago. But it is a situation that you have pieces in place. Are they going to gel well? Are they going to mesh well together down there in Denver? Who knows this season? It is something that they are still young and upcoming, do have an aging defense as well, too. Some pieces have already kind of moved on.
They took care of some things that needed to be, the Chris Harris situation they took care of. I expect big things out of Bradley Chubb. I think he's going to be, Von Miller Jr., so to speak. They're going to be, that's going to be a tough tandem.
The Broncos also do play in a pretty tough division of the AFC West, where anticipate 4 losses automatically between Kansas City and the LA Chargers at this point in time.
And maybe a split with the Raiders. You never know what Gruden's going to have coming to the table.
Especially the Raiders, who added a lot of pieces in the offseason. They made some big moves. They got some big names. Again, you can't deny, at least pairing up Carr now with Antonio Brown for the same, at least from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Again, guy's a phenomenal athlete, a phenomenal wide receiver. That's a piece on the offense that could burn, again, where he's familiar with that Broncos defense. He knows what it's going to bring to the table now, being a part of the Raiders and seeing this Broncos team twice. He knows how to get past them and make open moves. So, again, we'll see what happens with the Oakland Raiders. They are a question mark in the AFC West.
They're going to be down there with the Broncos. There's no doubt about it this year. If they pull out 6 wins this year, I think they're lucky. That's why I put them in a split with the Broncos this season. I think it'll be the Broncos win at Mile High, and the Raiders will win their last game in Oakland against the Broncos.
Probably.
That's just the way I see it. But
or either it could be really rough, where it is 6 losses out of the AFC West for the Broncos.
Going back to the original conversation here, again, nobody. I don't want to use the word nobody. A few are going to be tuned in for this because they're just diehard football fans. And like you said, I think the few are now becoming a vast minority because, like you said, the NFL has kind of pushed that fan who would be a looky-loo, who would turn on the TV tonight and say, oh, let's watch a quarter of this just for giggles.
Yeah.
The fan that has now been ticked off by all of the politics from the NFL, including one Roger Goodell, like yourself. You're the guys they want watching football, and you're not watching it.
Yeah.
Your generation says, screw this. I don't care. I got other things to do.
I think it's probably on the same vein as the rest of the nation, where it's a mixed bag, where it's almost probably 50-50 cut down the middle in a situation of some will, some won't. Some are, again, it is almost as divisive as you see in politics, where it is something of, well, with everything going on in the NFL, I'm not watching it. Well, it's still football. It's still something to do on Sundays. I'll still watch it. It does feel like it's at that split moment right now where some will, some won't. You are pretty much on one side of the fence or other. It is that kind of divisive right now in the NFL, where they have, as we've talked about many a time, at least for the past couple of years here on Wyoming Sports Talk Today, the NFL digs itself in a deeper hole by just doing stupid things year in and year out. Go back to the policy switches, the flip-flop on, again, will we require players to stand? Will we won't? Again, the abundant amount of penalties, the abundant of specialized penalties towards quarterbacks. It is basically, the NFL is now becoming the no fun league, without a doubt.
Oh, and it's getting
defensive players are now worried about hurting themselves due to the fact that they have to pull up on some hits, because now those normal hits back in the day now can be penalized, and now it's causing injuries where players have to hold up, slow up, and run the risk of injury now due to the fact so they don't penalize and cost their team. It is getting to the point that it's a complete joke, and that's why, again, at this point in time, for me, what am I more excited for 2019, 2020, at least football-wise, especially on the pro side of things, or semi-pro, if you can say that, because, again, to be determined of what the XFL is going to be. But in my mind, what am I more excited for? The upcoming seasons? is the XFL. First season to see what this is going to be about. The spring league, will it be competitive with the NFL? Will it do well? That's where I'm at right now. At this point in time, what am I more excited to watch football? Is the XFL.
See, and again, I'm opposite of you. I really don't get into spring football. It's had 3 opportunities for me. World Football League, the United States Football League, and XFL 1, and it didn't do it. It didn't cut it for me.
This XFL, though, of upcoming, where they
sell me on it.
Where they rebranded, it does have the same, or I'll put it on the same parallel as what's happening out in our part of the world with the Expedition League, where we've had other leagues before that have failed. Again, as you mentioned with the Rocky Mountain Collegiate Baseball League, same situation of the Expedition League on the baseball side of things. But this league took its time, was diligent, did its research, and now it's paying off. It's a slow build, but they're adding new cities, new teams. They're getting fan bases in. Attendance is going up and up year in and year out, even in some of these cities, whether it's Casper, whether it's in Daring, across the Expedition League, where it's stationed out here in the High Plains, Great Plains. It is something that I put it at the same place of, if you read into the XFL, what they're doing, they're taking their time, they're doing the research, and they're doing, it seems like, things right. They're looking at what the NFL's downfalls are. They're going, hey, you see everything wrong with the NFL? Well, we're going to correct it here. Oh, remember some of these old big names and whatnot? Well, they're going to come here now and compete. Oh, some of these players that were rejected by the NFL that weren't given a second chance, well, now they're going to at least come and compete over here for the XFL. It does feel like over the past couple of seasons, they've done their research, they've done their due diligence, and they've addressed basically all the complaints that me and a few others have who are NFL or at least, football fans. The XFL has come out and said, we've addressed this and we've made it better. Their credo is, you're playing football. It's back to regular football.
But again, it's spring and it's failed 3 times, and I think it's.
I'm just saying, what am I? Obviously, I'm excited for 49ers, especially to see if they will do and be successful this season, if they can make it to the postseason. But for football in general, what will I probably be more in tune for? It's probably that spring season of XFL this year.
All right, and real quick before we do take a time out here, again, Denver, Atlanta, and then you look at the folks in Georgia tonight. They're not going to see Matt Ryan. They're not going to see Julio Jones.
No.
And they're not going to see Devontae Freeman. So, again, you got the Mile High. You got Atlanta GA.
It's just an excuse to say, hey, football's finally back on TV to watch.
Do you know who the Hall of Fame class is? 2019?
Not entirely, no.
2 Broncos. Pat Bowlen is 1.
And you would have, as I blank on his name now,
Champ Bailey.
Yeah.
Champ Bailey is going to be a Hall of Famer. Gil Brandt on the executive side from the Dallas Cowboys. Tony Gonzalez, who made his career mark with Kansas City and wrapped up with Atlanta. Ty Law from the Patriots. You'll have Kevin Mawai from the Jets. Ed Reed, who did his business basically with the Ravens. And then you have Johnny Robinson, the legendary one, Johnny Robinson from the early Kansas City Chiefs days when he was playing for Hank Stram. So that is this year's class. Unfortunately, Pat Bowlen, and this is the argument we had here, correct me if I'm wrong, it was last year where Jerry Jones got it before Pat Bowlen. And that was like, this kind of sucks.
Well, it seems like the NFL does that with a lot of ownership or a lot of execs or GMs or people that should be in there that are not in. Go back a few years ago, or at least you could go almost like a decade where people were calling for, Eddie D to get in from the 49ers of ownership, and it took him quite some time to finally get in.
Because of his affiliation with gambling, horse racing.
Yeah, but
I mean, I know it's to me, the way business is done in the National Football League, you put Jerry Jones in because of Jerry World, that they built, AT&T Stadium.
Well, he's done that twice.
And he's got, a couple of Super Bowls with Dallas.
With the 90s ones he did.
Yeah, he's got a couple of but he hasn't done anything since.
No.
But Pat Bowlen, who took over the Broncos, I think in '84 when he purchased the Broncos, He's been to how many Super Bowls?
Yeah.
He's got 3 Super Bowl rings.
Yeah, he's got 3 titles, and I think, in total they've been to 10 or 9?
Let's see, they've lost 7 under
I do
Pat
believe
Bowlen?
so, yeah.
I know they lost 4. They lost the Seahawks. I think they lost 6, I do believe.
So 9 then in total.
Yeah.
Either way, a lot.
But the point is, though, what he had done in the National Football League and for the Broncos franchise.
Maybe there's something behind the scenes where, we talk about Eddie D. Granted, that was out in public of him being involved in gambling and horse racing and all that fun stuff. But maybe it's something on the back end that maybe some execs or some committee members had some sort of grievance against Pat Bowlen, or there was something that, there was an issue with the Hall of Fame, the NFL, and one Pat Bowlen, that there was something on the back end that we don't realize. That could be a possibility.
Well, when we come back, let's take a time out and we'll talk a little more about Pat Bowlen because I've got some stuff on him. We'll be back after these words right here on 1480 KRAE.
To celebrate Taco John's 50th anniversary, our famous Sierra Chicken Sandwich is back. With grilled chicken and original Sierra sauce wrapped in a warm flatbread, the Sierra Chicken Sandwich is better than ever. Plus, we're giving you a chance to win $50,000, free food, and other great prizes with any medium or large drink purchase. 1 in 3 cups is a winner. Enter the code on the cup to see if you've won $50,000, free food, or other great prizes. The more you play, the more you win. Ole the day at Taco John's.
Some common things that can affect your personal or at-work computer. The worst of all is a virus. Secondly, it runs too slow because the hard drive is filled or something else internally is wrong, and it's in serious need of an upgrade. Before you get rid of it, let Lanny at Affordable Computer Repair attack and fix those problems right away. Affordable Computer Repair is just that. So call 307-256-8971 and let Lanny's many years of computer service get your computer back up and running the way it should be so you don't miss a day of work or the personal use that you expect from it. He's worked on them all, so you'll feel confident he'll get the job done right. So don't junk it. Help is on the way from Affordable Computer Repair. Call 307-256-8971. Family-owned and operated, Riverbend Nursery and Stone Company offers many different types of rock, stones, boulders, and other decorative products that make a perfect addition to your yard or landscape. You'll find river rock, flagstone, lava rock, pavers, along with compost, mulch, and a lot more. So stop into Riverbend Nursery and Stone Company today to find out what will be best for improving your front or backyard. A family tradition since 1977, Riverbend Nursery and Stone Company, open 7 days a week, all season long, on North Yellowstone Road in Cheyenne.
At Medicap Pharmacy, we concentrate on nothing but your medications and your health. Each location is a locally owned, full-service neighborhood pharmacy. We won't make you walk through aisles and aisles of stuff or wait in a long line. Instead, we'll always make time for you by listening, answering your questions, and explaining your prescriptions.
Medicap Pharmacy. We'll always make time for you.
Medicap Pharmacy, 1947 Bluegrass Circle, next to Texas Roadhouse in Cheyenne. Or call 635-3712. First Tier Bank strives to remain competitive and offers some of the best CD rates in the community, as well as area banks and credit unions per Rate Watch reports. How does that make a difference to you? First Tier Bank can assist you in securing some of the best rates on CDs. First Tier Bank offers the personalized customer service you've grown accustomed to and deserve. Plus, feel confident that your finances are taken care of by a responsible, knowledgeable staff. Call 307-632-3500 and ask for Caitlin or Debbie. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think authentic Italian. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think made fresh from scratch. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think great pizza, delicious Philly cheesesteak, superb hot and cold Italian sandwiches, meatballs, sausage, and special subs, calzones, crisp salads, and great service. When you say Mondello's Pizzeria, think unmatched Italian taste. Mondello's Pizzeria, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, your only true Italian stop for lunch or dinner.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
For today, it'll be cloudy with thunderstorms likely throughout the day with highs around 78. For tonight, it'll be cloudy once again with thunderstorms likely throughout the evening with lows around 56. On Friday, it'll be mostly sunny with highs around 80. And on Friday night, it'll be partly cloudy with lows around 54.
We're taking Cheyenne, Wyoming Sports Talk Radio to a whole new level. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today.
Don't look at me. I think these people are completely nuts.
Stop this crazy thing! And it's only here on AM 1480 KRAE.
All right, let's go through the numbers before Pat Bowlen passed away with the Denver Broncos again, which happened earlier this year. Pat Bowlen, the owner, took the Broncos, or was part of the Broncos' 7th Super Bowl. They were in 7 Super Bowls under his leadership. 3 wins, 4 losses. And then they had lost back in the 70s to the Dallas Cowboys. So they're 3-5 in Super Bowl. But under the ownership of Pat Bowlen, 21 winning seasons, 13 division titles, 9 conference championships. Matter of fact, with Pat Bowlen, he is the only owner in NFL history to achieve 300 overall victories during his first 30 seasons. I mean, again, what the guy brought to the Denver Broncos, and again, I do liken him a lot to Eddie DiBartolo Jr. He was the player's owner. He was putting the players always first. Yes, they had contract disputes, no doubt about it. But I remember the last time that the NFL went on strike, Pat Bowlen's one of the reasons why they went back to work. He was there fighting for the players and ownership to get this thing resolved. So maybe he wasn't part of the country club ownership of the National Football
League. That's what I'm saying. There could be a lot of hurt feelings, a lot of back-end issues between the NFL and Pat Bowlen of why this took so long at this point in time. Again, people have been calling for years that he should be enshrined in the Hall of Fame. Now, at least getting it here 2019, but obviously, again, post his death. But it is something that he has the numbers. He brought the numbers to the table. He did phenomenal things, whether it was for the NFL or the Denver Broncos franchise. But it does bring up the argument, or at least the interesting thought process of, was there something on the back end, as you're alluding to, that did the NFL have issue with Pat Bowlen? Did NFL execs or front office personnel say, hey, let's drag this out as long as we can because he kind of angered us in the back?
Well, that would go back to he worked under 3 commissioners, Rozelle, Tagliabue, and this current one, Goodell. Now, let me say this. With Pat Bowlen, and I'm just throwing out some more statistics that I brought up here. The Broncos have sold out every game since week 1 of 1970. And under Bowlen's leadership, the team has had more than 400 consecutive sellouts.
Does that still stand today?
Yeah, they're still selling out.
I've seen a few empty.
Well, yeah,
empty
but then
games,
it's still,
but I guess tickets sell. Yeah,
tickets sold.
That whole thing. But
in addition to his role with the Broncos, Bowlen was a key figure. And I mentioned this here during the strike. He was a key figure in securing the league's labor and television contracts. He served as co-chair of the NFL's Management Council Executive Committee from 2001 through 2011, and formerly chaired the prestigious NFL Broadcasting Committee. In his role as chair of the NFL Broadcast Committee, Bowlen was responsible for the negotiation of the NFL's $18 billion television contract, the most lucrative single-sport contract in history. So for the country clubbers, he made them a lot of money as well.
That's good on him, I guess. Again, as an ownership, it does also to help him out as well. It does bring in revenue as well. So it's not just him sacrificing, for the rest. It is also too beneficial for the Broncos and his pockets and his execs as well too. So, but again, obviously being involved with the NFL, it makes sense that he is a Hall of Famer. Is it a tad bit late? Many would probably argue, yes, it is. But at least, if anything, at least he is making it in 2019. Will be enshrined officially, finally. So,
and you got to remember, he has not been obviously with his passing, but he officially stepped down once he found out that the Alzheimer's, he was a victim of Alzheimer's. I mean, he was the chairman of this club from 84 through 2000.
He was technically still a principal owner.
But then it kind of went down to
he was
wife.
He was no longer just no longer like the CEO.
That's right,
back in 2014.
But yeah, but here's the deal too with Pat Bowlen. He bought the Broncos from the Kaiser family, Edgar Kaiser, and it was interesting too because that mentality. And again, here is an owner out of Canada, where Bowlen was from, comes down and buys the Broncos, and everybody's like, oh, what is he going to do? And his mentality was, no different than Al Davis. Bolin buys a team, and his mentality was, I want us to be number one in everything.
Well, he was.
What was Al Davis's? Just win, baby, right?
Yeah, commitment to excellence. Yeah.
So, and basically, he said, I want us to be number one in
Which
everything.
you would hope most of your owners would have that same mentality or thought process, or at least have that drive if you're going to buy a team that you want to see them win and do well and success. Because, again, you know what happens in the long run, or at least it pays off in dividends. But, even with the Broncos, though, for Pat Bowlen, he was the same, whether it was with the Denver Outlaws, where he still, I think, continues to own that thing, or at least is still officially like the principal owner. Denver Outlaws in Major League Lacrosse down there competing in the Pepsi Center has been known for winning as well. I think they've won 3 cups down there as I look at least do research. The Outlaws have won 2014, 2016, and 2018, the Steinfeld Cup. So, again, in Major League Lacrosse down there in Denver, again, the Outlaws doing fantastic. They were about a winning tradition. Even back when Colorado did have, or at least Denver did have, arena football when that was still a thing in the country. It was at least a minority owner in the Colorado Crush.
Man, and that was more John Elway than anything.
Yeah, but still, at least still partnership, and still at least was influencing John Elway.
Also, too, Pat Bowlen had a very special relationship with John Elway. When John Elway got involved in, and again, too, think about all of the auto dealerships that he had in Denver. But when John Elway got involved with Kurt Schilling on a very bad investment deal in sports, Pat Bowlen was there to help pick up the pieces with Elway.
All right.
And again, too, investing in the club, that Elway was part of, the Orange Crush. Was that
Colorado Crush.
Colorado Crush. Also, too, had a position for Elway. Basically, that position that Pat Bowlen gave John Elway.
Well, if anything, it shows clearly loyalty to someone who's done well for your franchise, or at least as a quote unquote employee that John Elway at a point, or at least for a long time was Pat Bowlen's employee. It does show that he is willing to show loyalty and basically look after those who help him out, or those who are believers in his system, believer in his vision, his looks, whatever it may be. So that's all that tells me. That's why we are at this position with the Denver Broncos of John Elway in the position that he is. What he do as a quarterback, and what he did for something special for those fans, and again for the organization.
Think back to the Super Bowl win against Green Bay, as he held up the trophy. Pat Bowlen did, and said, "This one's for John." Right. So again, there was that love between those two men. And again, this is no different, though. I mean, think back, and again, Nick, you would have to look more at the film than anything, but you look back at the love that Eddie DiBartolo Jr. had for those 49er teams. It wasn't just Joe Montana. It was Ronnie Lott, Dwight Clark, Bill Walsh. I mean, Eddie DiBartolo was everybody's. Every man on that team was part of the Eddie DiBartolo love. But here, Pat Bowlen, who again was the player's owner, it was him and John Elway. I mean, that was that inseparable bond that they had together. I mean, think about it too. Dan Reeves, who coached that team for many years, there was some internal strife going on, whether it was between him and Elway or with the front office. And Pat Bowlen let Dan Reeves go.
Yeah.
And brought in Mike Shanahan. So it was like, Dan Reeves was pretty beloved. I mean, look, he brought the Broncos to the Super Bowl.
And again, with Pat Bowlen, he's not the only one to do this in the ownership ranks of have this philosophy. You go look with, with Rooney out in Pittsburgh with the Steelers, where again he was
Terry Bradshaw, even the old man Rooney.
Well, I'm just saying it is something where you see ownerships like this throughout the NFL, and it's paid off dividends where, again, whether it's in Pittsburgh, Oakland, San Francisco, Denver, now we're seeing it currently in New England as well, too, with the Patriots, with Robert Kraft.
But think about this, though, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but Dallas, Jerry Jones says he took over.
I would not consider Jerry Jones a player.
No,
owner.
But you think about it. He brought in his buddy, Jimmy Johnson. And what did Jimmy Johnson do? Got him 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Adios. He brings in Barry Switzer. Adios. I mean, these are guys that ran with Jerry Jones.
Yeah, but Jerry Jones also, too, is really intense about winning, if anything, again, making the Dallas Cowboys America's team as far as it's not that anymore.
Jerry Jones gave Jimmy Johnson nothing. Jimmy Johnson built that team through the draft, right? Again, Jimmy Johnson came in after the beloved Tom Landry.
Yeah.
And built that franchise up from the bottom. Rebuilt, at that time, America's team. And Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson still could not come together after winning a Super Bowl or two.
Well, and you're talking about at least the loyalty with the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones. Here we are in a situation currently with the Cowboys where fans are saying, hey, get rid of this guy. We don't want him anymore. We're not going anywhere. And that's when Jason Garrett, where you talk about turning a 180 flip at this point in time, where the Cowboys have been so inconsistent. Granted, they are trying to trend back upwards, but they go through these peaks and valleys, it seems like, year in and year out, trying to figure out personnel. But the head coaching staff is kind of kept consistent, outside of what happened, with the situation before Jason Garrett. But here we are where this guy's kind of been tenured after, again, the firing of Wade Phillips. And that was all the way back, at least what I'm looking at, 2010. This guy's been the head coach now for 9 years, 9 seasons, and the Cowboys have done squat.
Well, see, and then going back to the 49ers.
So talk about an interesting situation now with Jerry Jones, where you're talking in the past of how quick he was to fire these entities. Now he's holding on to a guy where he, at least for Cowboy fans, would probably say, hey, we need to get rid of this guy.
Well, and then you go back to Eddie DeBartolo Jr., and again, with his father, and again with horse racing, the gambling connection, where Eddie DeBartolo Jr. was forced to give up his franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And what did he do? He turned it over to his sister and his brother-in-law, which would be the elder Dr. York, who basically destroyed the team. Had no business. And then he turns around and hands it down to his son, who's started to build it back.
Well, it seems like Jed is more kind of pulled his head out of his
rear end. You got that right.
And he's realized, hey, I need to be that player's owner. It does pay off. It is something of, hey, no longer meddle with things.
And
let people do what they need to do.
And let me bring in the right people, a.k.a. you got Lynch in as the general manager. You got Kyle Shanahan. Whether you like the guy or not, he's building a reputation for himself.
Well,
he's the head coach now.
He's this organization now with the 49ers are building off of, or at least trying to get themselves out of the hole that was dug years ago, where we had the infamous situation, of basically saying, hey, you were successful. Thanks for everything, Harbaugh, but we don't see eye to eye. Now get out of here and go out to Michigan at this point in time. This is where Jed York almost had a revelation, where fans turned on him, media turned on him out there in the Bay Area, saying, hey, why'd you do this? The guy has brought you a winning program, a winning franchise. You were in a Super Bowl, and if not a play away from being 6-time champions as the San Francisco 49ers, but it is something that I think Jed York, it seems like, is now getting into that position where we're talking about those players, owners that realize, hey, when I'm like this, when I let pieces do what they need to do, good things come out over time.
And again, ego. That's the problem. When you had Dr. York running it, sending it down to his son, the ego ran the 49ers. That didn't happen under Eddie DeBartolo Jr. He let the players and the coaches run the franchise. And he got paid off. I mean, think about it. The 49ers under Eddie DeBartolo Jr., look how many Super Bowls they won. 5. They were 5-0 in Super Bowls. And you could bank on almost every year with Bill Walsh, who eventually stepped away, and George Seifert took over. Under that regime right there, the Niners were in NFC championships. You got to the point where you got sick and tired of seeing the 49ers, because they were always in the playoffs. They were either going to win the NFC championship or head to the Super Bowl. They were the team of the team of the decade of the 1980s.
Yeah.
Bronco fans know how bad they got clobbered in New Orleans.
It's still the largest, at least, deficit in Super Bowl history.
The Eddie DeBartolo years of ownership of the 49ers.
Well, and it continued.
Very similar to
you can even say
it
it continued on even outside. Again, obviously, the big ones who won the championships there in San Francisco was Bill Walsh and George Seifert, but also, too, right after that would be one Steve Mariucci, where he had to deal with, again, an aging Jerry Rice, brought in at least a young, talented Terrell Owens. You had Jeff Garcia, who could have been at least potentially a great quarterback.
And
he did at the tail end of Steve Young.
Yeah, he came in for the retirement of Steve Young.
Yeah, but Steve Mariucci did have some good years. There were times where they were playoff bound, had their issues, ran into very talented Green Bay teams at that point in time. But, it continued on. But post Steve Mariucci, that's where the downfall began, and where this franchise has been
that's when Doc York took over and then handed it down to his son that had no business. And you've heard me whine and gripe about it before, Nick, as like, these guys are destroying the franchise.
Yeah.
And then the next thing was, we got to get out of Candlestick Park.
Which is fair enough. Again, Candlestick was dying.
I understand that, but, now you're moving the 49ers out of San Francisco.
There's no land out there. It's so compact, tight.
But understand,
I don't blame them.
You
unless you want to do a landfill situation like the Chase Center.
I understand that, but everybody then knew right away that these guys didn't give two hoots about this franchise. It was all about them making piles of money. And then they build another Taj Mahal, good for Santa Clara. But they built.
I think Levi Stadium, attending there a few times, it is a fantastic venue.
It's expensive as all hell, isn't it?
Yeah, without a doubt. But that is Silicon Valley in general. That is the Bay Area in general, where everything is.
And you go to Jerry's World, it's expensive to go there.
Oh, absolutely.
Go to a Broncos game. Now, you and me went to.
It's pretty expensive there, too.
It's pretty pricey, but it's nowhere near going to AT&T. No. You go to AT&T, it's hard.
I'll look at prices there, but
Absolutely.
I would not doubt it. It's probably on the same vein.
No, Levi Stadium is probably your most expensive ticket right now.
I don't know. I don't know about that at all. I highly doubt that, because due to the fact that fans, as we saw last year, are willing to give up those tickets, say, hey, let's try to make some cash back on this, whatever. Again, they're not charging double the price, because folks are not going out there in the hundreds and the droves to attend a 49er game, because, again, this franchise is still climbing out of the hellhole that it's been in for the past couple seasons after the Jim Harbaugh seasons. So, again, is it the most expensive ticket out there? It is an expensive ballpark, or at least an expensive stadium, I should say, with Levi Stadium, but it is a situation of, are the tickets out there the most expensive thing in all of NFL? I highly doubt that.
I think when we get into our last break here,
I think I paid $50 to go see a game last year against the Broncos late season.
Yeah, and you probably would get a cheap seat at that time, and somebody probably took a bath on it.
Yeah,
just unload the ticket. And the thing is, too, Nick, we went to the Rockies game the other night when we went to the doubleheader, and we got 16 rows behind the Giants dugout. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And what I paid for those things, I think we got a steal on that, didn't we?
Without a doubt.
Somebody just wanted to unload those seats because they were going to be empty, and whoever had the tickets was going to eat them, right?
Pretty much.
Same thing, too, when you bought the tickets to the 49ers
I'm just saying resale value on the NFL is obviously a little bit different compared to resale in the Patriots.
You go around that stadium and you punch up from the top deck down to the bottom deck. And
I would doubt prices are probably the same as what you got to do.
My cousins have seats. And let me tell you, those are very expensive seats that they sit in.
You don't think there's expensive seats in Arizona, expensive seats in Denver at Mile High at this point in time? No, let's be honest. NFL trends in stadiums across the league are going higher and higher. I don't think that the Broncos are keeping things cheap. I would not doubt that they're on the same pace of prices are probably getting higher and higher and higher due to the fact of how much monies are going in and how much monies are being tossed around for some of these, as you talk about, Taj Mahals that are being built. Like, for instance, again, with the Las Vegas Raiders and that $1 billion stadium out there in Sin City.
I'm curious. I really am curious to see what that first level is going to cost on both sides of the benches, because that is going to cost you a fortune.
You got to realize of what your fan base is like, how situations are out there in Las Vegas, where You can appeal to a lot of fans, whether it is in Southern California or, again, some of the rich folks that are living in Las Vegas. But, yeah, it will be interesting, but it does not surprise me. It's what we see kind of on the NBA ranks as well with those kind of first rows, or if not right there on courtside. They're expensive. They're for the folks that can afford to pay a good amount of money to see those close up in action.
That would be basically every hotel and casino owner in Vegas.
Kind of like with the Golden Knights.
Yeah. Again, it's just like I said, it's the price of a ticket now to see, yeah, and I agree with you today, especially go to Mile High Stadium. But I'm guaranteeing you, Santa Clara and Dallas are probably two of the highest price tickets around.
No, not compared to probably Gillette Stadium or probably Lambeau.
No. You got to remember, everybody in Lambeau Stadium, Nick, is a stockholder.
I get that, but they can still resell those tickets for, again, an exorbitant amount of place. It is also, too, with the historic value of Lambeau of, hey, come see a game out here where who knows how long Lambeau can stand or if it will test the time.
Well, it looks like it has for, some 60 years now. All right, we do need to take a timeout, get ready to hop into hour number 2, get good conversation on, my hat is tipped to one Pat Bowlen, much deserving of being in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Unfortunately, he won't be here to even accept that honor, but the Bowlen family will be. We'll take a timeout. We'll be back with more after these words.
For almost 60 years, 1480 KRAE has been Cheyenne's home for good times and great oldies. Add to that live play-by-play sports featuring high school football and basketball, along with LCCC men's and women's basketball. Now combo that with KYOY-FM, and you have Cheyenne and the area's only locally owned AM and FM radio stations. But we don't stop there. We also have 2 FM translators which serve the area with programming from both KRAE and KYOY. And that equals a lot of bang for your advertising dollar. Radio yesterday and now today, along with our websites, web streams, and digital ventures, makes us your one-stop shop. For more information, please call Larry Proetti at 307-637-0301.
The end of the summer is in sight. Did you accomplish all of your home improvements and remodeling projects? Whether you're remodeling your kitchen or adding a little extra space for your growing family, the home equity line of credit with Platte Valley Bank can help you finish what you want to complete this summer. So stop in and we'll show you the hidden value in your home with a home equity line of credit with Platte Valley Bank.
Platte Valley Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. All lines of credit are subject to credit approval. Certain restrictions may apply.
Capital Lumber is number 1 in Cheyenne. Are you listening? We're all the lumber store you'll ever need. For electrical, plumbing, paint, and tools, lumber and hardware, we're for you. And we're out to earn your business, yes indeed. Capital Lumber is number 1 today. Are you listening? Capital Lumber's at your service all the way.
Capital Lumber Company, serving our area for over 53 years at 1222 Dunn Avenue in Cheyenne. In life, you question everything. The same should be true when it comes to managing your wealth. What are your investment recommendations based on? How much are you paying in fees? And how can those fees impact your returns? Charles Schwab encourages investors to get engaged and ask tough questions. To learn more, call the Schwab Cheyenne branch at 307-459-0998 or visit schwab.com/Cheyenne. Charles Schwab & Company, Incorporated, member SIPC. The message is simple. Drive sober or get pulled over. If you drink and drive, remember it's illegal and it can cost you your freedom or worse, your life. It's been determined that a blood alcohol content of 0.08% or more can impair you considerably when you are behind the wheel. Financially, it can devastate you if you get arrested. More importantly, it could result in losing a friend or a family member. That price is too high to pay. Call a designated driver after enjoying a night out and get home safe. Paid for by Federal Highway Safety Funds. Chick-fil-A is a proud supporter of our high school athletes at East, Central, and South. May the school year bring success to all of you. Before you start your day, stop by Chick-fil-A for a hearty, delicious, and satisfying breakfast. Only at Windmill and Del Range. Breakfast is served Monday through Saturday from 6 in the morning till 10:30 a.m. Breakfast with Chick-fil-A, the most important meal of the day at Windmill and Del Range.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
For today, it'll be cloudy with thunderstorms likely throughout the day with highs around 78. For tonight, it'll be cloudy once again with thunderstorms likely throughout the evening with lows around 56. On Friday, it'll be mostly sunny with highs around 80. And on Friday night, it'll be partly cloudy with lows around 54.
This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne. What you are about to hear is a sports talk radio show unlike any other that has ever before been broadcast in the capital city of Cheyenne, Wyoming, USA. This is Cheyenne, Wyoming's Sports Talk Authority. The Wyoming Cowboys, the Denver Broncos, the Colorado Rockies, and the Denver Nuggets. The show is local, it's regional, and yes, the show is national as well. Wyoming Sports Talk Today is on the air. If they're talking sports on the radio in Cheyenne, this is the place it happens. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today.
And Wyoming Sports Talk Today, hour number 2, being brought to you by Taco John's of Cheyenne, including over on the south side, where you can enjoy Taco John's cuisine through the Taco John's food truck right there on South Greeley Highway. Usually it will be found in the Outlaw Saloon parking lot. We want to thank Kia of Cheyenne over on Nation Way. Take a test drive. Take home the Kia of your dreams today. My good friend AJ and Greg and entire crew invite you to come on by and see what Kia of Cheyenne has to offer for you and the family. Platte Valley Bank ×2. Banking done the old-fashioned way, done the done the new way as well, and everything in between. So see our good friends over at Platte Valley Bank, the original location on Vanda High, and of course the east side location, the corner of College and Pershing. Chick-fil-A, Windmill and Del Range, where Ray and Cindy say, hey, go to CheyenneChicken.com and check out what they can do as far as catering is concerned. For a limited time, you can enjoy their delicious smokehouse barbecue bacon sandwich, along with their strawberry passion tea lemonade, serving up 3 delicious squares Monday through Saturday, 2 convenient drive-thrus right across from Powers Field and Menards. It's Chick-fil-A, Windmill and Del Range. Medicap Pharmacy, same location as always, open Monday through Saturday, right next door to Texas Roadhouse. Lennox Auto Body over on Dunn Avenue. The Auto Glass and Detail Center over on Pershing Boulevard. Again, founded by Dick Lennox and the tradition carried on by his daughter Heather, as she has not missed a beat in taking over the family business. First Tier Bank over at 1508 Stillwater Avenue. Again, they are doing banking the old-fashioned way. Customer service. First and foremost, check out their great CD rates right now over on Stillwater Avenue, 1508, open Monday through Friday, and open 7 days a week. Right across the street, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, Suite D in the Greenway Commons. It's Mondello's Pizzeria. Joe Mondello and the gang, his family, everybody invites you to come on by for delicious Paisan cuisine at its finest. And again, Joe has been here as long as I have been, and I'm telling you, he's been putting out delicious Paisan cuisine all during that time. And again, not corporate, family-owned, family-operated Mondello's Pizzeria, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, Suite D in the Greenway Commons. Scoreboard time. It's being brought to you by Pepsi of Cheyenne. We go first to Nick.
So at least continuing on for the Wyoming American Legion Baseball A State Tournament. Battle of the Unbeatens between the Cheyenne Hawks taking on the Douglas Cats happening at 7 o'clock tonight. Again, winner will move on or at least solidify as the number 1 seed in the state tournament. Once that gets underway, come on up tomorrow, at least tournament bracket play. Again, both teams are undefeated at this point. We'll see which one walks away with their first loss in pool play. And also, to do what our mind folks coming up tonight, Cheyenne Extreme Tryouts over at Converse Softball Complex. And that will be happening. Registration starts at 5:30. Tryouts at 6 to 8 p.m. No tryout fee. Again, Cheyenne Extreme Tryouts for the 2019-2020 season. Today is the final day for that to happen over at Converse Softball Complex.
Major League Baseball, top of the 8th inning at the Oakland Coliseum. Brewers and the Athletics in a matinee performance. It's 3-2 in favor of the Brew Crew. Finals that are in. It took 12 innings of free baseball in Miami, and all 400 people enjoyed it over in Miami. No, I'm just kidding. At Marlins Park. Probably I'm close, though. Marlins defeating the Twins 5-4 with a walk-off in the bottom of the 12th inning. Giants are absolutely beaten up by the Phillies today. Jake Arrieta out-dueling Derek Rodriguez, and there was no duel there. Phils win 10-2. Mets have shut out the White Sox at Guaranteed Rate Field for nothing. Other games happening. 5 o'clock hour, Blue Jays Orioles at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Astros Indians at Progressive Field. Rays Red Sox at Fenway. Cubs Cardinals at Busch. 5:20 we'll have the Reds and the Braves at SunTrust Park in Cumberland, Georgia. The late night contest will feature the Padres and the Dodgers at Chavez Ravine. If you are somehow really desperate and you want to watch them tonight on NBC, 6 o'clock Mountain Time, it is the first National Football League preseason game, the Broncos and the Atlanta Falcons in the Hall of Fame Classic in Canton, Ohio. Our scoreboard brought to you by Pepsi of Cheyenne.
Yo, this is your cup holder talking. You know me, the little round thing between your car seats. Now, listen, we need to talk. Now, I normally have a nice cold bottle of Mountain Dew in me, but at the moment, I'm empty. That's right, no Mountain Dew. Nothing in here but a couple of quarters and a dime. A fully capable cup holder like me just carrying your loose change, it's embarrassing. Look, I'm not made for loose change. I'm round like a bottle of Mountain Dew. Glistening, cold, and delicious. I'm made to keep Mountain Dew within reach at all times, so you're never far from that incredible bold citrus kick whenever you need it. Just inches from your hand. So find a store already, grab some Dew, toss it back, then place that bottle where it belongs, and put that loose change back in your pocket. Mountain Dew. Do the Dew.
Here the season never ends. From Wyoming sports to the Broncos in Denver. From Rockies baseball to talking hoops with Nuggets basketball. Local, regional, and national. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today, right here on AM 1480 KRAE.
Got to bounce around here in hour number 2. First off, Major League Baseball had to get involved, and they did today. They suspended 6 players, both skippers, for their roles in the benches clearing brawl between the Pirates and the Cincinnati Reds on Tuesday night. On a night, and again, it's a few games. We got traded.
Yeah, again, he'll serve his suspension as a Cleveland Indian, which is, I do believe, is 2 or 3 games. Again, whoever was involved, or at least those who were participating that MLB decided on, again, got a few games here and there. I think the max I saw was about 6 games. But other than that, though, again, no surprise of what happened. Obviously, again, to be strict on that, there were going to be suspensions, fines doled out, but I was just basically trying to figure out who all got him and for what time.
And here's what we got here. By the way, yesterday during the game, David Bell and Clint Hurdle did not even exchange lineup cards with each other. They didn't even come out. Clint Hurdle right now, and again, I'm just going to give you my opinion, is starting to make a bad name for himself. And I think the Pirates are going to get to a point now. Hey, you're not.
I think Clint Hurdle at this point does not deserve to be an MLB manager. He's proven enough that he can't get it done.
And again, I've told you that. And he's taken the Pirates. They're like a horse, good out of the gate, and then they have no kick around.
Or they get into the playoffs, or whether it is the wild card.
It's been so long ago when they were in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's been in quite some time under Clint Hurdle. But even once they get into the playoffs, they don't do anything.
And again, now with whatever's going on within the organization and whatever's going on the field, and Clint Hurdle is the skipper, and right now, the Pirates, you need to make a move. You need to boot this guy. He's done.
Well, there's no point to do it now.
Why not?
I don't know at this point in time, but obviously the Pirates have not shown any interest, even post all of this. The situation right now, what good is it going to do them at this point, where you might as well just let them finish out? Don't have to pay him off or anything at this point in time. Don't have to pay him out.
You're going to look in the stands. You're going to see,
they've seen it for many a year.
You're going to see more vendors than you're going to see people in the stands.
That is nothing new at PNC Park. I've attended a game out there, again, for, final remaining series there at PNC Park, again, especially where I saw the St. Louis Cardinals, were pretty good rivalry right there. No one shows up on a weekend game there. That's commonplace. Pirates have realized that. The ownership group has realized that. Hence the reason why they've been fire selling year in and year out right now, and why they're trying to retool this team. Obviously, again, what good is it going to do to them? I mean, it won't do any harm if they got rid of Clint Hurdle, but you might as well just finish out the season.
You might as well just part company now, let somebody else take over the ball club, and then retool it for next year. Anyway, back to the suspensions. Reds manager David Bell got 6 games. Pitchers Amir Garrett, 8 games. Jared Hughes got 3 games. Yasiel Puig, who, again, was traded to Cleveland before Wednesday's official announcement, he was suspended for 3 games. Pirates pitcher Keone Kela, he got the longest ban, 10 games for intentionally throwing a pitch near the head of the Reds' Derek Dietrich,
and that's what
later instigating the brawl.
Yep.
Teammates Jose Osuna, 5 games. Kyle Crick, 3 games. Skipper Clint Hurdle got 2 games, who were disciplined by Major League Baseball. Now, all 6 players, believe it or not, have appealed the suspensions and can continue to play until those appeals are heard. Bell will begin his suspension tonight, and Hurdle will begin serving his ban coming up on Friday.
Whatever. I again, guess what?
But this is the second incident now with the Pirates. Because, man, think back to the Cubs and the incident with Joe Madden and Clint Hurdle.
Well, this is something that the Pirates have been involved even with the Cincinnati Reds. So again, this is all stemmed from early on in the season, if not the first or second series of this 2019 campaign was between these two where things got a little rough between them.
Baseball,
this is nothing new.
There is no room.
It's kind of like with the Giants and the Dodgers.
There is no room in baseball for this dirty play. And obviously it's being instigated by the skipper. To me.
Are you sure about that?
Well, he needs to put a kibosh on it, and he sure as hell doesn't seem to be wanting to do it.
Unless he in situations like that, hey, as a head coach, as a manager, you want to show, hey, you got faith in your players. You're out there to defend them and fight for them, so to speak. Was it Bell? Was it Clint Hurdle? Trying to push these guys to the edge, or was it just building emotions between these players that already hate each other? And then you have acts that have, again, throwing behind a pitch, at least throwing behind a batter's head, hitting a batter led to an ejection. You had a call issue where Bell got upset and kind of riled things up as well. This was all a situation that was brewing, and I don't think it was caused by either manager between Cincinnati or Pittsburgh. This was something that was just brewing and brewing and brewing to the point where it happened.
All right, we got to move along here. The Giants, another couple more
Glad
baseball.
You gave your input on that.
No, I already told you. I think Clint Hurdle knows what's going on.
I think Clint Hurdle reads on the wall that he's out. He should be.
And what, he doesn't care?
But then again, we don't know what the Pirates ownership is going to do at this point in time. They've kept him on for well past what have been terrible Pirate seasons. So why do they keep this guy on when you've had other entities out there that are available to manage?
I don't know. Maybe they just let him do his own thing. That's it. Maybe
it's dumb, but
yeah, maybe he's left alone.
But is he on the hot seat? He should be. But will he be gone after the end of the season? I don't know.
And the question is, who would want to take over the Pirates' job, especially working for this group?
Someone would. There's no doubt about it. It's a
somebody out of the minors, probably. Anyway, the Giants have placed outfielder Alex Dickerson. This I didn't need to see, because this guy's been kind of an inspiration right now for San Francisco. He's on the 10-day injured list with a right oblique strain. So the Giants announced the move before this afternoon's game against the Phils. Dickerson, at age 29, missed 2 straight seasons. I feel bad for this guy. 2017 and 18 because of back and elbow injuries. The Giants have not disclosed how long that he will be out. Again, they got him on the 10-day DL.
It is not the biggest loss for the San Francisco Giants. It is not something that's going to prevent him from this playoff push.
He's been outstanding. Think about it. He comes to the Giants in a June trade with the Padres. He's hitting, since the trade, .386, 6 home runs, 23 RBIs. He's got an OPS of 1.22.
His defense is miserable as well. His defense
no. You're thinking not. No, his defense is a lot better.
It's a lot better, but it is an issue. It has been an issue for the Giants, but it is something where, again, for Dickerson, he's an up-and-coming player, but is it something that is going to prevent or at least halt this Giants playoff push, even though they again, lost the series against the Philadelphia Phillies? Granted, they struggle in Philadelphia. That has just been the history of the Giants, and also, too, they've struggled this season against the NL East just in general, but is this something that now this fairy tale story that is the Giants is going to at least end at this point in time? I highly doubt that's what's going to happen, especially where what we just saw happen, trade deadline, Giants went out and got some names.
Yeah, but they didn't get anything in the outfield. I mean, you've got Pilar,
okay. I again, I think he's one of the best defensive fielders. You got Slater. Slater is your worst of the outfielders. You got Yaz, younger Mike Yastrzemski.
Yeah.
You could throw Brandon Belt out in the outfield.
You're not going to do that.
If needed. But the Giants are down 3 outfielders right now. That's all. So they didn't really go out and get a lot of help. But, Scooter Gannett, yeah.
Wait.
He will
Again, a guy who's an all-star.
Yeah, he'll replace Joe Panic at second base. And Joe has been
And Panic, I think, he's had some stints. It was kind of random instances. I don't anticipate them to put him out in the outfield, but he's had a few games where he's played out in the outfield, but is that going to be a replacement for Dickerson or trying to figure that out? No, I highly doubt that. But in Giants, with this loss, it is not detrimental to this team that is figuring things out at the right time, getting it done. Again, talk about the San Francisco Giants, where they entered July with a 36-47 record, but now as they head into August, they're above 500 at this point, even with today's loss. They are the first team in MLB history to enter July 10 games under 500 and leave July with a winning record. The first team in 150 years of baseball existence, they're the first team to do that.
Right. And again,
you're talking again. I've said it throughout this month. Again, continue on. Hopefully in August, that you're seeing right now one of the hottest teams in baseball that are doing it with pieces that have been gone. Again, this is a team that is still missing Longoria. This is a team that's missing Johnny Cueto. That's had injuries up and down. You've had players move in and out. As we saw at the trade deadline, now, again, relievers are missing. Obviously, Melanson, not a big loss. Sam Dyson, yeah, that's a big loss, but I think the Giants can recover from that. Again, you have other setup guys in place outside of Sam Dyson. Losing Drew Pomerantz, not a big loss.
Oh, no.
But he's been up and down as
well,
well,
too.
But
the Giants right now, again, looking for that last playoff spot. They're anywhere between 2.5 and 3 games out with today's loss because, again, with the Cubs and the Cardinals, somebody will be at 50.
Yeah, but they're still in it, though.
No,
they still have a shot.
They're one game above the Mendoza line, so I don't have a problem with that. They're a lot closer to being into the playoffs than the Rockheads are, but I'm just saying, the Dickerson loss, to me personally, I think is going to be.
It's not. It's a slight loss, but it's not detrimental. It will not stop this team.
He was hot, and again, that was one of the more productive bats in a very weak lineup.
Who was more productive, in my opinion? Who's been? Granted, he's had some inconsistencies a bit, but the bat that I saw that we're seeing right now that's kind of contribute. Is what he's doing right now with the Giants, without a doubt.
Yaz, Sandoval has been a very good role player.
Posey's trying to get back into the swing of things.
Crawford is trying to get his bat awakened. But, again, Belt still stinks. Second base has been a problem with either Panic and hopefully Gannett.
Again, that's where they went with Gannett.
Vogt has been okay when he's been in for Posey. But, again, Pilar is that also.
Pilar is more of your defensive
and
presence.
And he's your seventh bat.
Yeah, he is your defensive presence out in the outfield to cover all that ground, especially there at Oracle. That's where he was kind of brought in. His bat hopefully does pay out dividends here in August, or at least if they get into the playoffs or September, October on. But right now it is something that for the Giants, you're more relying on your pitching staff that is starting to figure things out with Madison, with Samardzija, as we saw him win yesterday against the Phillies. Right. It is something that pitching staff, whether it is starters, relievers, and your closer with Will Smith, they're going to be your leaders, so to speak, to get into the playoffs more than it is your bats. Again, this is a Giants team that's near dead last in offensive scoring.
Oh, they're pitiful. All right, I want to throw this out here real quick, and then we got to take a break. Major League batters are on pace to hit 600 more home runs than in any previous season, nearly 10% above the record set 2 years ago.
Is that a surprise? It's a swing and miss lead right now.
And exactly. Thank you, because that'll bring up the other stat coming up. There were 1,057 home runs in July alone, according to the Live Sports Bureau, breaking the previous July record of 961.
You saw like 15 of them in the 2-game doubleheader.
Yeah, and that was back in 2004. Right now, Milwaukee's Christian Yelich began Thursday, leading the major leagues with 36 home runs, followed by the Angels' Mike Trout, 35. The Mets, Pete Alonso with 34. The Dodgers, Cody Bellinger with 34.
On Thursday, the Mets' Robinson Cano became the 200th player to hit 10 home runs this season. The record for players with at least 10 homers in a year is 242 in 2017, according to ESPN Stats and Information. 56 players who have between 7 and 9 home runs are currently next to top that 10 home run mark. Now, interesting that you mentioned the hit-or-miss league. A year after strikeouts surpassed hits for the first time, whiffs remain ahead, 28,422.
You look at the Rockies right now, where this is probably the predominant strikeout team in the league. I think they do lead the league in strikeouts amongst it as a team in general. You compare them to opponents' strikeouts, compared to at least striking out to their pitching staff there in Colorado. I think it's almost like a 2-to-1 difference where, again, opponents are striking out way less than what the Colorado Rockies are as a team.
Strikeouts project out to 42,607 this year, which would top last year's 41,207. That's at a record for the
Rockies attribute to 1,000 of them at this point. If I look at the stats, or at least I was looking at the stats yesterday, they amass 1,000 strikeouts as a team right now. So they're contributing that much.
The Major League batting average right now is about 252 through June. That is up 4 percentage points from last year's average, which was the lowest since 1972, the year before the American League started using the designated hitter. So just throwing some quick stats out there before we head to the break. And with that being said, we're going to take a timeout. We'll be back with more after these words on 1480 KRAE.
Are you looking for a pharmacist who will actually take the time to talk to you? Then come to Medicap Pharmacy. We're dedicated to healthcare only, which means we'll fill your prescription quickly, and then we'll make time to listen, answer your questions, explain your prescriptions, and tell you about possible drug interactions.
Medicap Pharmacy will always make time for you.
Medicap Pharmacy, 1947 Bluegrass Circle, next to Texas Roadhouse in Cheyenne. Or call 635-3712.
Don't move firewood. Firewood can carry insects and diseases that kill trees. Remember to always get firewood as close to your destination as possible. Burn firewood where you buy or gather it. Trees in towns and forests are threatened by native and exotic insects and diseases that can hitch a ride in a load of firewood. Let's keep forests healthy so we can continue to enjoy camping, hiking, hunting, and fishing. Brought to you by the Wyoming State Forestry Division in cooperation with the U.S. Forest Service.
Do you want the peace of mind of a professionally installed security camera system? Then go with a name you trust, High West Digital Solutions, a High West energy company. The experienced team at High West Digital Solutions will customize a video security system for you, helping you keep an eye on everything going on inside or outside your home or business. Go to hwds.com or call 307-245-4333. High West Digital Solutions, the best choice, the local choice, the right choice for you. Chick-fil-A is a proud supporter of our high school athletes at East, Central, and South. May the school year bring success to all of you. Before you start your day, stop by Chick-fil-A for a hearty, delicious, and satisfying breakfast, only at Windmill and Del Range. Breakfast is served Monday through Saturday from 6 in the morning till 10:30 a.m. Breakfast with Chick-fil-A, the most important meal of the day at Windmill and Del Range. First Tier Bank strives to remain competitive and offers some of the best CD rates in the community, as well as area banks and credit unions per Rate Watch reports. How does that make a difference to you? First Tier Bank can assist you in securing some of the best rates on CDs. First Tier Bank offers the personalized customer service you've grown accustomed to and deserve. Plus, feel confident that your finances are taken care of by a responsible, knowledgeable staff. Call 307-632-3500 and ask for Caitlin or Debbie. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
1480 KRAE is your home for live play-by-play coverage of high school basketball and football. Hi, this is Nick Brody inviting you to hear all the play-by-play calls of East, Central, and South football and basketball. You'll hear the conference action along with the postseason, and during the basketball season, 1480 KRAE features both boys and girls games. Catch all the exciting calls on AM 1480 KRAE, also streaming the games worldwide on the web at 1480krae.com.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
For today, it'll be cloudy with thunderstorms likely throughout the day with highs around 78. For tonight, it'll be cloudy once again with thunderstorms likely throughout the evening with lows around 56. On Friday, it'll be mostly sunny with highs around 80. And on Friday night, it'll be partly cloudy with lows around 54.
Tired of lazy and predictable sports talk radio? We know you are. This is Cheyenne's new sports radio home. It's Wyoming Sports Talk Today, and it's right here on AM 1480 KRAE.
We're back on Wyoming Sports Talk today. Yesterday we had Cody Tucker in, who kind of gave us a preview of the Mountain West as he went to the Mountain West Conference meetings in Vegas. Of course, tomorrow we're over in Laramie to hear again the fall sports, including football.
Yeah,
and we'll be hearing from Craig Bull. So if we see Cody sleeping, we'll kind of, slap him around a little bit because you'll say, "I've heard this before."
Yeah,
I'm sure he's going to hear the same speech.
We heard a lot of the similar speeches last year. You can go back to the familiar phrase that was "the Calvary's coming" from Coach Craig Bull. So, again, interested to hear what he does have to say, at least in his own words. So, curious about that. But again, we will hear from volleyball, from cross country, track and field as well. So looking forward to that. Soccer as well there at the University of Wyoming. So looking forward to all of that coming up tomorrow in Laramie. Tomorrow, at least for UW, is their media day. Down the road in Fort Collins with CSU, I think their media day comes up sometime next week. And then over in Greeley for UNC, their media day is, I do believe, on Saturday coming up this week. We will not be attending either of those down there, but something that we want to talk about. Since we previewed a lot of Wyoming, at least the Cowboys for obvious reasons. But
yeah, we'll keep these folks, online with us again. We
do get CSU updates, and we have talked with Coach Bobo as well too, and we'll try to talk with him again before the season.
But let's talk about the Bears first. University of Northern Colorado, and again, I appreciate you printing up the football schedule. Just taking a look at what they have. They do actually have a WAC opponent that they take on in the preseason.
A WAC opponent?
I'm sorry, the Mountain West Conference. I'm sorry that I said the WAC.
The WAC does not exist.
I had a senior moment there, ladies and gentlemen.
In basketball.
This means I'm 110 years old. But they do have a Mountain West Conference opponent. That would be, they go to San Jose.
Which, for UNC,
I would hope that's a win.
The Bears, who are under at least a new head coach right now, kind of retooling down there in Greeley, were from last season a part of the Big Sky. They were abysmal, winning only 2 games, finishing nearly dead last. They finished above Southern Utah and Sacramento State, but they finished 2-9, where they had 2 of their wins, or at least the only 2 wins that they had were in conference last season. So again, Northern Colorado, pretty abysmal, at least football down there in Greeley. So could they, in theory, on the road, beat a San Jose State team? I highly doubt it. As bad as San Jose State is, it might be a good competitive, at least affair out there at San Jose, but do I anticipate Northern Colorado to get the so-called upset of the FCS over the FBS team? I just highly doubt it. And that's a wacky one as well, too. That will get underway on Thursday, August 29th, instead of Saturday, like the majority, or at least the rest of the Mountain West is on that 31st.
13 teams are in the Big Sky Conference for the Bears. Now, I look at their second game, and they're going to end up similar to the Cowboys. It don't matter who's going to be quarterbacking Washington State or not. But they were a relatively young team when we saw them come to Laramie last year. I think that could be a long
Washington State, the Cougs are, at least in the preseason coaches poll, they sit right now at number 21, so they are a top 25 ranked team, at least according to the coaches poll in preseason from what I saw earlier today. So by that time, probably still ranked, if not maybe moving a little bit higher in the top 25 in the FBS level. So good luck to the Bears. They're not getting it done in Pullman.
And they also have another non-conference contest on the 21st. They'll take on South Dakota, which they'll have in Greeley. But their conference opponents, Sac State. As a matter of fact, this is going to be tough for the Bears if you look at it. And our friend Brady Hull probably be able to comment on it a lot better. I mean, their first 3 games, they're out of Greeley. They're at San Jose. They're at Pullman, Washington. They go to Sacramento, California. That's got to wear on you right away.
Yeah, Big Sky Conference action right there in week 3. It is going to be a tough test out of the gate for UNC coming up. 3 games on the road.
They got 7 games total on the road this football season.
Yeah,
they're gonna, and it's going to be a tough schedule. So last year, the way the season.
But the beneficial for that, though, on that road trip is they're not going out southeast, they're not going out east or northeast or anything cross country. For Greeley to go to Pullman, not that bad. I've been on that flight up to Spokane or however they're going to at least get to Greeley, up to Bowman. Again, San Jose State, Sacramento. So you're all kind of keeping in that relative area where it's not going to be.
I understand that.
You're going to get used to it by week 3.
You have 5 home games this season out of your 12-game schedule. You have 5 home games, 7 on the road. That's going to be a brutal schedule for these guys. And again, after having the season they had last year,
it's tough to get at least teams to go play out Nottingham Field, where that field is nothing spectacular there in Greeley.
Well, and again, we know that from Cody that San Jose is putting some money into their stadium, but you got to also put butts in seats, and they don't do that too well over there in San Jose. So,
yeah.
Again,
they don't do that well in Greeley as well too, because this Bears program has been just awful.
Yeah, it hasn't shown
will it revitalize coming up this year again under new head coaching? There's a lot of promise. Again, this is a team that is predicted to maybe move up a bit in the Big Sky, not be contenders in the Big Sky, so to speak, or move on to the FCS, at least playoffs to compete for that championship out there, but it is a team anticipated to move up the ranks, kind of improve upon itself, since it does have older kind of vets returning back and part of this Bears program.
Last year they were 1-5 at home, 1-4 on the road, so it didn't matter. This team was just not good. Do we again look at the Aggies of UC Davis and Eastern Washington? Do we stamp, since those two teams were, and even Weber State year in year out? I should not even dismiss them.
Big Sky.
Those 3 teams are pretty dominant.
I would say out of the there's probably 5 you could pick hairs from, whether it is Eastern Washington out of Cheney, where they can do phenomenal things on the red turf up there at I do believe Roos Field. UC Davis, from my understanding from last year, was kind of a spark. It was almost of, hey, here comes UC Davis out of nowhere. They're doing something spectacular. Weber State, we know, they've been here in Laramie before. They've competed against the Cowboys, give them kind of a run for their money, so to speak. So with the Wildcats, Weber State, yes, they are kind of up there. Montana State, Bobcats out of Bozeman. Who knows where they can be? Montana State does flirt every once in a while to be the Big Sky champion, and then also to their counterparts happening over in the west side of Montana. That'd be the Montana Grizzlies. They could also make some move. At least they could be kind of a powerhouse as well too. Coming up in the Big Sky, they do recruit pretty well. And then the one possible outside looking in, or at least the question mark in the Big Sky from last year, looking at least at the top of the standings, be the team out of Pocatello, Idaho. That'd be the Idaho State Bengals. Of what will this team be made out of? For Idaho State, they kind of fluctuate up and down year in and year out, where they kind of go through their peaks and valleys. Will it be another down season for the Bengals coming up?
It's interesting too with the UC Davis Aggies. They kind of remind me a lot of Boise State, because you notice, and we had the opportunity a couple seasons ago to see them at War Memorial Stadium. They're getting antsy.
I didn't see UC Davis.
What's that?
You're talking UC Davis or both?
I'm talking about UC Davis.
Yeah, I didn't get to see him, so you did.
Oh, what I'm saying is, though, they're getting antsy. They don't really want to be. Let me rephrase that. They're in the Big Sky, but they want to move on. You know what I mean?
I've never gotten that implications from UC Davis at this point.
I'm looking at their preseason schedule now.
If any team from the Big Sky would entertain of moving up to the FBS level, that'd be probably Eastern Washington. Eastern Washington, who has been, they've been in that national championship. I do believe they've won the national championship on the FCS level. They've been consistent. They are, again, I'm not even saying UC Davis is that Boise State of the Big Sky. I'd say it's more Eastern Washington than anything, with the Eagles out there, what they do year in and year out. This is a team that is proven that they can get it done.
I'm just looking at who they've been playing as of late. And again, they've been taking on the likes of Stanford. They've been going up against, and they beat San Jose State last year, by the way. But this year they got California on their schedule. And now,
will they beat the Golden Bears? Highly doubt it.
In Berkeley, I
highly doubt.
I don't think they can. Then they also got Lehigh scheduled this year. So I mean, again,
who cares on that one?
But you notice that they're either trying to do Mountain West Conference, and now they're focusing on Pac-12.
What UC Davis is trying to do is just a locale games of who's there in California that's willing to play them. I wouldn't doubt it if USC says, "Hey, we got an opportunity to come play down there in the Coliseum." come on out.
Oh, yeah.
Get your brains beat out.
And by the way, Davis is not getting anybody to come to their campus. Again, Stanford, you went down to the farm. You're going to Berkeley. They came to Laramie to play the Cowboys. So, again, the Aggies, though, matter of fact, we beat the Aggies. It was 2016, so it was a year before you got here. We beat them 45-22. The thing is, I'm just seeing Davis being antsy because they had San Diego State that year on their schedule, and they got beat. I think it was in 2017. They got beat 38-17. So they're finding.
But that's just how the Big Sky operates out here, especially being near the Mountain West, being by the Pac-12. You go to these, these non-conference games, or at least, hey, we'll give you big monies to come play at Pullman, to come play at San Jose. Here's your opportunity, Northern Colorado. Let's see what you got. But, that's pretty much of, hey, let's schedule you at the beginning, non-conference, so we could just beat the hell out of you and just gain a little momentum into the season with taking on a UC Davis, Eastern Washington, Northern Colorado, and Idaho, what Wyoming's going to run into, or at least week 3, when the Vandals come down to Laramie, where Cowboys in program history have not had a whole lot of issue beating the hell out of the Idaho Vandals. As unfortunate it is enough for me to say, I've seen a lot of those games in person. But, again, the Big Sky, they are that punching bag for the FBS. It seems like year in and year out of, hey, we'll give you a lot of money, and you're probably going to get whipped on by about 50 points.
Yeah, those are always good paydays, when you get that opportunity.
But when it comes to conference time, 5 teams are probably on my radar where they're pretty much consistent in the Big Sky. Again, Montana State, stick with Weber State, Eastern Washington, who I would not be surprised win the Big Sky, and then probably on the outside, again, picking hairs between UC Davis and what Idaho State does as well.
Well, I'm just telling you,
and who knows? Maybe we'll see
next time when we see,
and maybe you see a revitalization out of the Idaho Vandals in football this year. They're trying to go in a new direction, do situations out there. They got a new athletic director there in Moscow, so we'll see if any of that does pay off in dividends for the Idaho Vandals football wise as well.
And like I said, when they see that next opportunity of teams wanting to move up to FBS stature, I guarantee you.
I think the only school right now that could entertain probably moving up to the FBS is probably Craig Bohl's former coaching team, North Dakota State, the Bison. That's probably your only team that would probably get any invite to move on up to a non-Power 5 conference in the FBS level. And maybe Eastern Washington. I'll give Eastern Washington a possibility. But the only thing that hurts Eastern Washington is there in Cheney out in Washington. That field is very small. It's not going to attract a whole lot of fans out there. Cheney does pack it as much as it can, but the attendance is nowhere where probably the Mountain West would like it. Any other conferences around that would, and I think their only opportunity would probably be the Mountain West to join there. But that is a stadium well below probably at least attendance standards that the Mountain West would not accept.
Okay.
All right.
Not by it. You're not going to I think you and me are going to disagree on this, though. I'm just throwing it out there. That's all I was doing.
You can admit that I'm right.
No. Let's go to down I-25 as
you can move across, what is that highway from Greeley to, was that 34?
Yeah, 34. You can go east-west. But that takes you to Loveland, then you have to go north 10 miles. But anyway, 25 south to Fort Collins. The Rams have their schedule out. And, of course, they have their traditional gathering with the Buffaloes.
Will this ever go away? I mean, is this a necessity that CSU needs to play against the Buffaloes where it seems like year in and year out, CSU doesn't stand a chance against the Buffaloes.
Well,
even when the Buffaloes are terrible.
They had a couple breakthrough games, and it's still.
I don't think I foresee this year that Colorado wins pretty big.
Must-see eyes in
Colorado.
Yeah, I think.
I really doubt at Bronco Stadium.
They
watch
draw big crowds.
No.
Yes, they do.
No.
Okay.
You might want to watch those games, especially this one's going to be on ESPN Friday coming up 8 o'clock down there in Denver.
I'm not going to watch it because I can care less about that.
Well, we got high school football on that day, but either way, I highly doubt that place is going to be packed for this.
I just said it's going to be a sellout, but usually it's a very well-attended game.
Sure.
All right,
whatever you believe.
So
I'm curious to see
but
what
again,
the attendance is.
We're looking at, well, it's going to be very well attended by Boulder.
Sure.
Because really the Buffs should knock the snot out of the Rams in this contest. The Buffs are a lot better this season.
But again, traveling down that highway, it's still paying for that ticket to get into Mile High Stadium. Is it worth it at that point? Probably not. I don't anticipate that this attendance where you're probably thinking it's going to be is going to be anything remotely spectacular for this.
It's going to be good. It's not going to
battle of Colorado.
They're not going to be overflowing. I say there's going to be about 40,000 for this.
No. Well, I would say you're probably pushing maybe 25.
All right. Well, we'll see. Then they will match up the next weekend with Western Illinois. That will be in Fort Collins at Canvas Stadium. They got Arkansas. They got to go to Arkansas.
Yeah, where we saw last year Arkansas come up and Arkansas had a bit of a struggle early on in that game, but eventually they turned on the afterburners after halftime. But anticipate for CSU to not get it done against that SEC school. That should be a monstrous loss for CSU.
They get Toledo at Canvas Stadium on the 21st.
As I'm breaking it down so far, I got CSU should win against Western Illinois. They should be at this point taking on Toledo 1-2, losing to Colorado, losing to Arkansas.
And Toledo's a tough one. Toledo, yeah.
That's a tough one, but for whatever reason, I gave CSU the edge in this game. I think CSU could beat Toledo with at least everything happening on that day. A lot of emotions running high. It's their Orange Out Day, the special unis, Ag Day as well, too. They have that obviously nod to the old CSU Aggie days, that orange and white combination, or orange and green nasty kind of color combination that they have. But I could see CSU winning that game.
All right, then they move on to take on the Aggies, and that will be in Logan at Merlin Olsen Field at Maverick Stadium. Quickly, Merlin Olsen, who was he?
I don't know.
He was part of the fearsome foursome with the L.A. Rams.
Cool.
He was also on TV.
Doesn't mean anything to me.
He also used to tag team with Dick Enberg on NFL broadcasts.
Well before my time.
Merlin Olsen.
Anyway, so at Utah State at Logan.
So you put an L there.
Yeah, that's easy.
You go to San Diego State.
Homecoming at home.
Now they get the Aztecs in Fort Collins, but does that make a difference?
No, that should be a loss.
They go to New Mexico.
Should win. Should beat New Mexico. You should beat the Lobos.
It used to be Lobo Stadium. Now it's Branch Field at Dream Style Stadium. Give me a break. Then they go to Fresno State.
That's a loss.
They're in Fresburg. That ain't going to happen. UNLV, they get them.
And the Running Rebs, who beforehand, a few weeks earlier, will be up in Laramie. So they got to make another trip out this way up to Elevation. I give CSU probably the advantage.
I give them a chance in that one. They got Air Force at home.
No, I don't think they win that one.
They got to go to Wyoming on the 22nd.
Again, this is that game.
Friday night game.
This is, and break it down of where I have both teams' win-loss record in going through their schedules. This is the game that's going to determine who is fourth, who is fifth in that Mountain Division. Absolutely. I think it does come down. It could go either way. We've seen CSU win up in Laramie. We've seen Wyoming win down in Fort Collins. We've seen Wyoming win at home. You've seen all those combinations. It does not matter what level of talent both teams show up on the field. It's always competitive, and anything can happen. Any team can win.
If Coach Bobo loses this one, boy, I'll tell you what, there's going to be people.
What if Craig Bowl loses this one?
I know, but I'm just saying, in case of Coach Bobo, he loses this one.
This is not a guarantee for. This is not a guarantee win for.
The head is going to be definitely on the platter if he can't. He hasn't beaten Wyoming.
I think for both coaches it is.
Well, he hasn't beaten Wyoming.
Well.
And then they wrap up at Boise State.
That's like they're not at Boise. Boise comes
they're
hard.
taking Boise, taking on Boise at Canvas Stadium. So, yeah, you sit there and you look at the Rams. Just me off the top of my head, I see maybe 3 wins at best for this team.
I got them with 5, where I think they could edge out Wyoming in Laramie, possibly. But other than that, though, I think probably you're looking at 4 wins for this CSU Rams team. So, again, as they're predicted to finish 5th in the division, they'll edge out New Mexico with getting that New Mexico win there on the road. I think that's fair. They're not getting it done this year. It's going to be another rough one. Again, with Colin Hill, where he had some experience last year, getting some reps, obviously, behind Carter Samuels being the starter for the CSU Rams. But, again, Hill, who is going to be a junior coming up, 7 touchdowns, 7 INTs last year, a total of 1,300 yards. Completion percentage 58%, so question marks kind of on the same vein. We know he can throw. Again, he's attempted 202 times. He completed 119 passes last year, part of the CSU Rams. So he can throw. We know that compared to the question mark right now with Sean Chambers in the University of Wyoming of will he throw, can he throw? But, again, it is Colorado State, Wyoming. You're on the same vein of what is the offense and defenses for both teams going to look like? Is it going to be a mess, or is it something that's going to eventually gel well in the beginning part, or is it going to be a full season length process to get some victories or get things kind of working and moving?
And again, from what I saw last year, what's coming back, I see a win at New Mexico. I see UNLV and Western Illinois. I see 3 wins. So it's going to be another long season for the Rams as well. All right, we got to take our final time out here. We'll be back with more after these words of 1480 KRAE.
To celebrate Taco John's 50th anniversary, our famous Sierra Chicken Sandwich is back. With grilled chicken and original Sierra sauce wrapped in a warm flatbread, the Sierra Chicken Sandwich is better than ever. Plus, we're giving you a chance to win $50,000, free food, and other great prizes with any medium or large drink purchase. 1 in 3 cups is a winner. Enter the code on the cup to see if you've won $50,000, free food, or other great prizes. The more you play, the more you win. Ole the day at Taco John's.
Introducing Digital Wallet, a new way to pay with Platte Valley Bank. Add your Platte Valley Bank debit card to Google Pay, Samsung Pay, or Apple Pay, and have the ability to make purchases with just your phone. It's secure, simple, and accepted by millions of merchants worldwide. Try it today or check out pvbank.com for more information.
Cheyenne Urological has been the cornerstone of urinary care to Cheyenne and its surrounding communities for over 20 years, with doctors Bryant, Everett, Gajewski, and their highly trained staff providing top-quality treatment for prostate cancer, urinary tract infections, kidney stones, impotence, and incontinence. Cheyenne Urological is now offering cutting-edge robotic surgery. So call Cheyenne Urological at 635-4131 for compassionate, expert urinary care. That's 635-4131.
Check out the huge savings this week at Town & Country Supermarket Liquors. Here are just a few of the terrific weekly specials. Our Super Radio buys include Patron Silver Tequila, 750 milliliter bottle, $32.99. Black Box Wines, all available varieties, 3-liter box, $15.99. And Keystone Light or Ice, 30-pack, 12-ounce cans, $18.59. Town & Country Supermarket Liquors on the South Greeley Highway, Cheyenne's low-price leader.
We're working hard for your business. I'm A.J. Miller at Kia of Cheyenne, and right now you could save on the 2019 Kia Forte. The 2019 Kia Forte is priceless, yet still offers standard features not found on most of its competitors. With Kia Forte, you can charge your phone with available wireless charging, voice command navigation, and 8-inch touchscreen to help sync up your world. Come into Kia of Cheyenne or call 775-0123 or go to kiaofcheyenne.com and we'll make it easy.
When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think authentic Italian. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think made fresh from scratch. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think great pizza, delicious Philly cheesesteak, superb hot and cold Italian sandwiches, meatballs, sausage, and special subs, calzones, crisp salads, and great service. When you say Mondello's Pizzeria, think unmatched Italian taste. Mondello's Pizzeria, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, your only true Italian stop for lunch or dinner.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
For today, it'll be cloudy with thunderstorms likely throughout the day with highs around 78. For tonight, it'll be cloudy once again with thunderstorms likely throughout the evening with lows around 56. On Friday, it'll be mostly sunny with highs around 80. And on Friday night, it'll be partly cloudy with lows around 54.
You're listening to Cheyenne's new Sports Talk Authority. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today on AM 1480 KRAE.
Well, he's getting ready to coach his first game as the new head coach of the Denver Broncos tonight, which will be the Hall of Fame game in Canton, Ohio. And if
I thought we were going to talk about something else, but whatever.
Oh, we can.
We're going to stick on the Broncos.
Well, no, I just
want
to throw this out there. Vic Fangio's game day debut as the Broncos did not go quite as smoothly today as you'd hope. Fangio spent most of the day at a Cleveland area hospital due to a kidney stone. See, I'd be thinking he'd having migraines being the head coach of the Broncos.
Well, kidney stone
but anyway,
caused by stress.
But anyway, the team announced that he will be on the sidelines against the Falcons this evening. So he's already at the stadium, and he's getting ready to coach the Broncos. What else are we going to talk about?
Talk about at least Wyoming making some kind of interesting news or an interesting list.
This is an interesting little tidbit that Nick picked up about Wyoming fans more than it is players, right?
Well, the theme of it is highest ejection rates at college football games. It's a top 10 list created by 247sports.com. This is an article that came out about March of this year, but it's from analytics from one station that did kind of a look into ejections, whether it is caused by, staff's alcohol policies, whatever it may be. Basically, it was just to give a quick summary on the situation. It was, according to the numbers, there are numerous programs taking steps to increase safety and fan experience on game days, taking a no-tolerance approach when it comes to belligerent behavior in the stands. This NBC affiliate published a graphic showing the schools with the highest number of ejections per 1,000 fans at major college football programs from data taken in 2016. Due to variance extremes in law enforcement staffing and liquor laws by program, it's difficult to pinpoint why some schools are higher than others in ejections, and doesn't necessarily mean environments aren't safe. In fact, could just mean the complete opposite. But for instance, again, top 10 as they listed, number 10 was Florida State's Seminoles. They found themselves in 2016 with, as they take a look at 150 total ejections in the football season there, as the average attendance, or at least attendance in general in at least for Florida State that season, around or just below 500,000. So that was about 0.33 ejections per 1,000 fans. Georgia Bulldogs, number 9, they saw 191. Number 8, Florida Gators, they saw 150, but they're averaging 430 average. So it's all going from ejections, averaging out from attendance, and then they just kind of calculate that per 1,000 fans. But number 7 on that list, how about Wyoming Cowboy fans? You experienced 52 ejections in 2016. Attendance for that entire season was 148,860 there at War Memorial Stadium. Ejections per 1,000 fans, that equates you to 0.35 per at least attendee. So, again, a third of you was getting at least exited out of a Wyoming Cowboy game for whatever reason it may be. Now, it does bring up the question of, as that article alluded to in the beginning of, is it something that means that it's unsafe environments happening in Laramie, or is it just that precautions are already set in stone at War Memorial Stadium, that folks are just automatically just getting exited before anything gets out of hand? Now, us in the press box,
they're becoming moronic, and before they get into total moron mode, they're booted.
It wasn't it 2016 or somewhere around this time that that liquor, or at least
I think
the
it was
alcohol
17. I think it was 17 when you first got back.
Yeah, the alcohol sales have been a recent and new thing there at the University of Wyoming. Now, has it been a big issue? Granted, alcohol in general can play a factor in some ejections, whether it's on pro or college. Again, that includes with the tailgates as well. But again, the 52 ejections that happened in 2016, and without knowing 2017 numbers in 2018, if it kind of kept on par, if anything, it escalated. But is it something that is an alarming trend? Is it something that families here in the state of Wyoming should worry about seeing these ejections? Is it something that's saying that it is an unsafe environment there at Memorial?
I think there's two sides of the stadium, okay? You got the east side, you got the west side. The east side is your student section, okay? They're going to be more boisterous than anybody.
Going to do moronic things.
They're going to
probably be a little bit more
dumber than a box of rocks.
A little drunker than your average fan.
Your fans on the west side are more controlled. They're fans. They're watching the game. They're eating.
But they get intense. They get passionate. Where
they do.
Some fans on that side can get a little alcohol in them.
But, we sat in the press box. Have you ever seen law enforcement come up there and escort anybody out? No.
Well, I'm looking on the field.
In all my years, I've never seen law enforcement escort anybody out from that side.
Okay? Now, again, I can't see over on the east side.
And who knows what's happening in the tunnels below, if there's fan interactions there, if it's also two fans interacting with opposing fans, getting into fights like that. Again, we are not there, at least eyes, to see encompassing around War Memorial Stadium. But, again, does this mean that it's an unsafe environment happening in Laramie? I really don't think so. Of attending games, being on the sideline or, up in the press box, obviously it's a little bit jaded eyes being away from actually in with the fans. But in my opinion, it's hard to believe that it's an unsafe or just a bad environment for families or fans.
I think they're just getting a bad knock myself because, again, I've never had a problem. In all the years that I've gone, whether it's basketball or football, I've never had a problem there.
Yeah.
And even when you go through Tailgate Park or anything like that, everybody's just having a good time. It's all about football. And, do people drink too much? Everybody does. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. Every place you go, there's always some goofs drinking. We saw it in Fort Collins last year. So,
Well, and as we get to the top of the hour, just quickly go through the rest of the top 10. Utah, the Utes, number 6. Nebraska, the Cornhuskers, are number 5 for ejections. Oregon State Beavers are number 4. How about the Oregon Ducks? Their counterparts are number 3. Number 2 on the list, the Wisconsin Badgers. Granted, they saw 34 ejections, but ejections per 1,000 fans, it was 0.72. And number 1 is the South Carolina Gamecocks, that are your most ejected fan base at 496 ejections in the year.
Way too much moonshine at the game. All right, our final night.